When loyalty is louder than leadership, even giants like Si-hyuk must stand aside. A revelation that has stunned both fans and insiders across the K-pop industry. Jungkook, the youngest and most commercially valuable member of BTS, has allegedly defied direct instructions from HYB's founder, Si-hyuk, to not involve himself in Jin's solo tour beyond a single guest appearance. And yet, Jungkook didn't just show up. He never left. Multiple sources close to HYB now confirm that Si-hyuk personally spoke to Jungkook ahead of the tour, urging him to prioritize his solo career trajectory. Jungkook's highly anticipated solo world tour, originally projected to launch in late 2025, had already garnered attention from global sponsors, venues, and media giants. It was being positioned as a monumental career-defining moment, but according to insiders, Jungkook quietly declined. Bang PD told him this was his time to rise. His time to become the face of a global generation, one internal source revealed. Jungkook looked him in the eye and said, "My Hyung needs me. I'm going." That moment, now being whispered as the turning point inside HYB headquarters, reportedly left senior staff scrambling. Contracts were paused. Press tours canceled. One executive called it a PR nightmare, while another saw it differently. It wasn't just a decision. It was a declaration. Jungkook was telling the world where his loyalty lies. Since then, Jungkook has been seen at every stop of Jin's tour, from Chiba to Dallas, not as a featured artist, but as a silent, unwavering presence. He's assisted backstage, helped with setlists, and even quietly coordinated visual segments. Despite being offered full solo spotlight opportunities, he has refused to stand center stage, instead choosing to walk behind Jin, just out of the spotlight's reach. And now, fans are asking, why did Si-hyuk try to stop him? Was it about business? Control? Protecting the larger BTS rollout plans? Or was it a miscalculated attempt to separate something that has never been separable? The bond between BTS members that transcends even the most powerful contracts. On social media, the response has been electric. The hashtag he said no to power began trending worldwide within hours of the leak, with fans praising Jungkook's character, conviction, and courage. "You don't walk away from $1 billion tour unless your heart belongs elsewhere," one army wrote. Jungkook didn't betray Bang PD. He honored BTS. Interestingly, Si-hyuk has yet to release any public statement addressing the situation. He's been notably absent from recent BTS-related appearances and hasn't posted anything referencing Jin's tour. Fans note this as uncharacteristic silence, especially considering his long history of public support for BTS milestones. Meanwhile, Jin has made several cryptic remarks during performances that fans believe are subtle nods to Jungkook's presence, and perhaps even to the internal struggle they faced to be on that stage together. "This stage wasn't built easily," Jin said in Tampa. "But I'm not alone here. I never was." That single sentence sent the crowd into an emotional frenzy, especially as Jungkook was later spotted behind the lighting console, head down, hoodie up, quietly nodding to the beat of Jin's encore more than ever. The Jin x Jungkook dynamic is now being seen as a symbol of resistance, brotherhood, and silent revolution, a quiet message to the world that BTS is still choosing each other, no matter what anyone tells them. And what about Jungkook's future as a soloist? Sources inside HYB say plans have been pushed back indefinitely. One executive said, "We'll wait for him. He's not just an artist. He's BTS. And BTS doesn't move unless they move together." As Runseekjin_repeat, tour nears its final nights, culminating in Amsterdam, where speculation of an all-member surprise appearance continues to grow. The world watches with bated breath, because in a world ruled by numbers, metrics, and business, Jungkook said no to power and yes to family. What began as a solo journey for Jin has now transformed into one of the most emotionally charged movements in BTS's history. But behind the lights, the sold-out arenas, and the teary-eyed encores lies a story few expected, one that pits loyalty against legacy, personal love against professional expectation. And at the center of it all is Jungkook, who has become more than just a presence on Jin's tour. He has become the silent defiance, the walking contradiction to every industry expectation, and the heart of a quiet rebellion. Insiders now whisper of a private conversation that allegedly shook the inner walls of HYB. Si-hyuk, the man often credited as the architect of BTS's global success, reportedly sat down with Jungkook before Jin's tour began and asked him to stay focused. The label had grand designs for Jungkook, ones that included a 30-city solo world tour, a brand new global album rollout, exclusive endorsements, and synchronized releases in 4 languages. But Jungkook, after spending just one evening watching Jin rehearse, walked into the room the next day and simply said, "I'm going with him." Bang Si-hyuk, known for his calm authority and business acumen, was said to be stunned. This wasn't a disagreement over scheduling. It was a deviation from an empire-building strategy years in the making. For a brief moment, the dynamic shifted, not between label and artist, but between a creator and the very creation that had grown beyond his control. Jungkook's refusal wasn't laced with drama or disrespect. It was quiet, steady, a decision born not of impulse, but of something far deeper: loyalty. That loyalty has now been witnessed on every stage Jin has stepped on. In Osaka, fans spotted Jungkook at soundcheck, not as a performer, but testing Jin's in-ear monitors. In Anaheim, he was seen pacing backstage with a headset, relaying cues to the lighting team. And in London, he was the one holding Jin's coat as the eldest member prepared for his final encore. He doesn't appear in official tour posters. He doesn't take the mic. But he's there, in every detail, in every heartbeat of the production, in every breath Jin takes. The message couldn't be clearer. Jungkook didn't just show up, he surrendered the spotlight. He gave up solo stages, screaming crowds of his own, and potential historical records, all to walk beside his young. And yet, despite his silence, he has spoken volumes. To fans, to HYB, to the world. And the world is listening. Fans have turned this narrative into a movement. Online spaces are flooded with tributes, edits, and letters of support, not only for Jin, but for Jungkook's integrity. The quote, "You taught us brotherhood. Don't stop me from living it," has become a banner for armies across the globe. It's being printed on shirts, tattooed on arms, and whispered across arenas before every encore. Even those previously skeptical of BTS's bond are beginning to understand. This isn't for the cameras. This isn't scripted. This is real. Yet in the halls of HYB, tension reportedly lingers. Bang Si-hyuk has refused to comment publicly on Jungkook's deviation from the solo rollout plan. A silence some say is strategic, others say is telling. While HYB pushes ahead with content for other members, Jungkook remains absent from their scheduled promo packages. Some insiders speculate that this is HYB's way of letting the situation resolve naturally. Others, however, suggest that a quiet internal battle may still be ongoing, one where Jungkook's commitment to Jin has forced the company to rethink how it handles artists who no longer fit neatly into the company blueprint. But this isn't about disobedience. It's about love, about timing, about trust. Jungkook isn't just following Jin on tour, he's standing guard. He's preserving something BTS built long before the world ever noticed them. He's making sure that in Jin's most vulnerable and brave moment, his first solo tour after military discharge, under a new kind of pressure, he's not alone. Not emotionally, not physically, not even for a second, and Jin knows. Every time he walks out to a roaring crowd, every time he sings about longing, about resilience, about memory, he doesn't have to turn his head to know who's there. Jungkook doesn't need to be called on stage to feel seen. Because this isn't performance. This is protection. This is brotherhood. As the tour enters its final stretch toward Amsterdam, speculation is mounting like never before. Will this end with a quiet wave from Jin, or with the unexpected appearance of all 7? Will Bang Si-hyuk step forward with a statement? Or will he remain the silent witness to the moment BTS reclaims their story, not with noise, but with presence? Either way, something irreversible has already happened. Jungkook chose heart over headlines. And no matter what HYB planned, no matter how well the schedules were written or the press releases were drafted, that single decision has changed the course of everything. It has reminded millions of fans why they fell in love with BTS, not just because of music or visuals, but because of who they are when no one is looking. Because loyalty like this doesn't need permission. It doesn't ask for approval. IT simply shows up.